Hello, Terry here, and today we're going to play Mycorrhiza. It's what the developer described as a love letter to horror manga in the form of visual novel. So this is currently only the demo, and we could only unlock one door, which is on the left one, with the scratch mark upon it. So yeah, enough talk. Let's open the door, shall we? My eyes were burning. It felt like hot coals were lying on my eyelids. Oh, that hurt. I slowly opened them and attempted to heave myself up from the cold asphalt, but I failed. My whole body was heavy and my head felt like it was being squashed by a hydraulic press. After a few attempts, I finally succeeded and tried to make out where I was. Okay. The fog in my mind lifted slowly and I realized that I was in a dark alleyway. My vision was still blurry and I had trouble keeping my eyes open, but I could tell that I had never seen this place before. Slowly my heart began to race. Was I abducted? Mugged? What had happened to me? Who knows? That is some uncomfortable sound, isn't it? I hastily checked my body, fortunately finding no wounds. Why was I feeling this weak then? Maybe I was drugged. Could be. A door. As I tried to recall what might have happened to me, my eyes finally focused and I could see the house in front of me. In fact, it was the only house on the street with its lights on. The dirty yellow glow shone through every single visible window. I felt some relief knowing that the tenants were awake. Perhaps they could tell me where I was. I wouldn't mind some warmth either. I approached the front door. It took me some searching to find the doorbell through the overgrown ivy. Ah, a deep gong rang out from within the house when I pressed it. The sound, amplified by the cold wind cutting through my shirt, made me tense up. What an odd choice for a doorbell sound, I thought while rubbing my upper arms to warm myself. I waited. No one answered. Yeah. My mind twisted in confusion. Why was no one coming? I rang the doorbell again. Then I tried knocking. No response. No one was coming. I didn't understand. Did they forget to turn off the lights and go on vacation or something? Did they? As a last resort, I tried turning the doorknob and it actually opened. This game fully utilized the sound effects. That's good. This worried me. Did something happen to the family living here? Perhaps I should find a phone and call the police. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the street. My heart started to pound as my body tensed up. I wanted to dash into the house, but my feet refused to move. What was that sound? Was someone out here? Pictures of otherworldly monsters and armed kidnappers popped into my mind as my eyes scanned the darkness. The world was silent once more. I was still on edge, but my body slowly started to relax as I regained my composure. I decided I didn't want to find out what that was. Cautiously, I stepped through the threshold and firmly closed the door behind me. Okay. Oh. I felt an immediate lurch of guilt since I was trespassing into a stranger's home, but I rather face a police questioning than wander around a strange neighborhood in the middle of the night. Scott. Okay, that's a really generic name. Hello, is anyone here? No answer, the house was eerily quiet. I cautiously ventured further down the front hall. Perhaps I could find a telephone. I stopped in front of one of the doors. A dim yellow light seeped silently through the bottom crack. I turned the knob. Locked. Then the next one, also locked. They all seemed to be. I frowned. Why were the lights behind this locked doors lit? It gave me an uneasy feeling. The door at the very end of the hall was the only one that I hadn't tried yet. I grasped its handle and turned it slowly. It swung open to complete darkness. Ah. Once again, my body tensed up while my mind started to conjure horrific image. Oh, that sound. The sound division of this game. Oh, they are really great. Doing a great job. A beast with dislocated arms and crooked teeth creeping towards me from the darkness. A floor littered with corpses and walls stained with blood. A giant spider sitting in a corner waiting for its chance to strike. My hand shook as I reached to flick on the light. And what is it? Nothing. It was an utterly ordinary bedroom. My heartbeat slowly calmed down as I realized that I seemed to be safe. I felt almost silly getting scared of nothing. A quick search yielded nothing but barren, dusty shelves. The bed was the only meaningful object present. Slowly but surely, a wave of fatigue washed over me. The more I looked at the bed, the more tempting it became. That's strange, isn't it? With my adrenaline rush fading away, I found that I was more exhausted than I had realized. Like a worm worming its way into an apple, a single thought slowly appeared in my mind. I had to sleep. That was soon the only thing I could think of as my consciousness faded. I had to sleep. The world turned dark and the soft covers of the bed pulled me deeper and deeper into the black abyss. Uh-huh, okay. Some people have gotten as little as a couple of hours of sleep the last couple of nights. Interesting. Let's hope that this will all be over soon. What what will be over soon? I shot awake. It was as if no time had passed. I hardly remembered falling asleep. Feeling a bit better, I decided to take another look around the house. The fact that no one was here, even though the lights were on, was still nagging at the back of my mind. But I was more confident that I'd be able to find help now that it was daytime. Ah, that's nice. I left the bedroom to retry the doors, just in case. They were still locked. Oh, that's the sound of birds. I like it. I would have at least liked to take a shower. I smelled my clothes and they had indeed started to smell slightly sour. It would have been nice to access the kitchen as well, although it was doubtful there was much food here given the house's empty state. This place seemed to have nothing left to offer. I better be out of in the streets now that it was day, even if I was still missing my wallet. I left the house for the bright sunlight. Judging from the music, it's kinda calm now. The back street didn't seem so bad anymore. I found it to be rather cozy and quiet. I made my way down the path until I heard the faint sound of conversation in the distance. Okay, people. A weight lifted from my heart when I first glimpsed people walking around in a pedestrian area. There weren't too many of them though, and as I looked around I got the feeling that it was a rather small town. Trees and flowers were planted at a regular interval which gave it more of a rural atmosphere. It didn't matter, I could finally ask for help. Could you? Excuse me, could you tell where I am? The woman blinked at my approach, she frowned and scowled in my general direction. This is Kejam Height. She looked uncomfortable talking to me, so I thanked her and let her be. Kejam Height. I had never heard of a town like that before. How did I end up here? The thought of being somewhere I didn't recognize scared me. How was I supposed to get back home if I didn't have the slightest idea where to go? I took a deep breath to calm myself down. My next best bet would be asking someone to allow me to make a call from their mobile phone. I approached an older man in a business suit. Excuse me, may I use your phone? I'm a bit lost and would like to call a friend of mine so he can pick me up. His lips curled into a grimacing frown. Sorry, in a bit of a hurry. I approached person after person, but even after what felt like several hours, I had no luck. No one wanted to lend an unkept, half-dressed stranger their food. As I made my way through a side street, I heard two elderly women whispering to each other. Are all of them old people? Oh, interesting. I heard of some violent incident recently. Most got away with just a flesh wound, saying that they were attacked by someone or something. Yeah, I heard that too. I wonder if it has anything to do with the pet disappearance. I heard of another cat that hadn't come back in several days. Pets. Ah, that's the title of this game. And cats. Interesting. That's what. Oh, finally, a character. I thought there will be no, sprites here. I was so focused on the conversation that I almost ran into a girl. I mumbled an apology until I realized that she had approached me on purpose. Hi. Hi? Uh-huh. You need to call someone, right? She extended her hand and offered me her phone. How did you know? People have been talking about you. We have some violent crimes here recently. Everyone is a little on edge. Many pets have been getting sick. Some say someone has been poisoning them. She nervously shuffled her feet and glanced away. Thank you, I won't take long. I took the phone. I love that. I took the phone and dialed a friend's number. But the call didn't go through. I tried it again, but the result was the same. Maybe his phone was turned off. Or maybe you're the one that cannot access the outer world. I tried my parents' house phone, then my job's front desk, then my boss' personal cell. Each time the call failed. Okay. I was sure that I had the right numbers. Maybe the phone had a bad connection. It seems like the calls won't connect for some reason. Maybe you will have more luck trying a landline. My phone does act up sometimes. You might be right. Still, thank you a lot. I didn't want to hold her up any longer, so I gave her her phone back and wandered off with a rushed farewell. Leaving that way may have been a bit rude, but I was too frustrated to care. I just wanted to look for another way to get in contact with someone I knew. It occurred to me that I should have asked her for directions to the police station. I turned to look for her, but she had already vanished. As I made my way through town, I could now definitely feel the tension in the air. The girl was right. Everyone was on edge. Oh, oh freak, I dislike this. While I was passing by an alleyway, something caught my eye. They were too big to be rats. I couldn't really make anything out other than their eerie glowing eyes. Oh, wait, I can hide. Oh, that's lovely. Lovely. Maybe it was a cat gang searching the trash for food. Maybe. Apros, apropos food, I was starving, okay? But I couldn't possibly just ask random people to feed me, and since my wallet was missing, I didn't have any money on me to buy something. Though there were oddly tempting looking plants growing nearby. Oh, that's so strange. As I stared at them, I felt a pull. Their strange appearance hypnotized me, and without me noticing, my feet inched closer. And closer, oh no. And closer. No, no, don't. It's obviously trying to hypnotize you. I broke away from the hypnotic pull of the plants. What was I thinking? It didn't matter how hungry I was, they may be poisonous, yes. And it definitely tried to hypnotize you. But my hunger was beginning to gnaw at my insides. My vision grew blurry. You know how long it's been since I've eaten? Oh. Suddenly I collapsed and the world around me vanished. Okay. I heard that another team had some problem with a scientist of their who ended up being banned from their research center. Banned? She apparently performed experiments on humans who were... What? I can almost sympathize with her. Sympathize? She done experiments on humans. Oh, freak. It was dark when I awoke. It seems like no one had bothered to help me. I tried to get up, but I couldn't. My whole body was paralyzed from hunger. Something was shuffling by my ear. I should have probably eaten that thing. Oh, I dislike this. I felt the sniffing of an animal, perhaps one of those cats I saw earlier. I couldn't bring myself to look. I don't want to. It lost interest and walked past me towards the plant. I heard more follow. As they padded into view, I would notice that something was off about them. It must have been my mind playing tricks on me. My hunger was overwhelming. Something about their bodies was wrong. They started to eat the plants. They were smacking rather loudly and made unnatural flashy sounds, yes. Every now and then one would pause and give off a low growl that didn't at all sound like a cat. More like a slightly higher pitched bear growl, oh no. After a while the sound diminished and I felt their presence vanish. Why didn't you give us the look of some of those creatures? I gathered my strength and forced myself to my feet. What had just happened? What were those creatures? The violent crimes that I had heard about earlier popped into my mind. My hands began to shake slightly. What would have happened if I hadn't been paralyzed and if they had noticed that I was still alive? Oh. Most house lights were still lit. I mustn't have been out for long. Once again, my body gave off a deep growl. It was as if my stomach was eating itself. I had to get some food or else I was in danger of collapsing again. Being as desperate as I was, I approached the next best house and knocked. I was surprised when the door actually opened. Oh, hello there. Hey there, come on in. How nice of you to visit. Something strange about you, I don't know. Do we know each other? Before me stood a fashionably dressed woman with a big smile on her face. At first glance she seemed welcoming, but her movements were rather stiff and almost mechanical, as if they had been practiced over and over again, yeah. She took another more throughout look at me and seemed to realize that we did in fact not know each other. Okay. Ah, you must be a new neighbor then, please come in. She disappeared before I could correct her. I hesitantly followed her inside. On my way, I saw a football near the entrance with some of the strange-looking plant I had seen earlier in it. Oh no. This whole city. Huh. She'd been feeding those to her pet. I picked after the woman into the living room. No, not the pet. It's for herself, isn't it? Ah, hello there. A man leaped to his feet as he saw me and stretched his big hand out to me. His other arm hung down limply. Apparently, he was unable to move it. Hi there, it's nice to meet you. How are you doing? I reciprocated his firm handshake and he cheerfully gestured me to take a seat beside him. To my surprise, the girl who had helped me earlier was here as well. She gave me a small wave. It's strange. It's starting to feel like a festivity. Indeed. We should have neighborhood get-togethers like this more often. Alright, this is... She turned and frowned into my direction while trying to remember a name she hadn't asked me for. Scott? I'm Scott. Right, Scott. He moved in nearby recently, I think, so I thought we should invite him in as well. Certainly, it is nice to meet you. No, I'm not really... Alright, food, give me a second. Why? Something strange, why you're suddenly pointing to food? The woman rushed into the kitchen and came out with the steaming dishes of food. I could make out different kinds of meat, baked potatoes, and more. My stomach gave off a deep growl and my mouth began to water. Any thought of honesty about my origin was gone. The other visitors started piling food onto their plates and I followed suit. As I devour it and life came back to my body, I let my eyes wander over the others. Everyone seemed to be rather tense, especially the woman and the man. Yeah, they are. Look at their face. Their movements were rather stiff, mechanical, we could say. Every now and then they threw glances each other's way, glances that seemed to indicate mistrust. The woman seemed to especially be eyeing the cup that the man was drinking out of. Every now and then, when they noticed each other's looks, they put on a fake smile. Okay, they don't know each other too. The girl seems like she hadn't planned to be here in the first place. Was she just dragged into it just like I was? As I was cleaning my plate of its scraps, something important flashed into my mind. Excuse me, would you mind if I use your phone? The woman hissed. What? I'm afraid I don't have one. I never cared for those buggers. She looked over to the man. Maybe he can use yours. Of course, I can show you to my house once we are ready to go. I gave off a sigh of relief and thanking the man. He waved his hand in the air. No problem at all. Please excuse me for one moment, though. Okay. He shuffled out of the room, presumably toward the bathroom. All right, I'll make some more tea. Okay. Now we are alone with the girl. She scooped up the man's cup and left me alone with the girl. I cleared my throat and nodded in her direction. Is there this kind of game gave me suspicion all of the time? Is there something in the cup that the woman gave to that man? I cleared my throat and nodded in her direction. Thank you again for lending me your phone. I did appreciate that. You're welcome. I hope will have more luck with the landline. Yeah, I hope so too. Now, you should probably ask about the police station. Silence. And I guess that was the end of the conversation. Yep, you didn't ask about anything else. Perhaps she felt uncomfortable speaking to a weird-smelling stranger. I'm going to go wash my dishes. Okay, there she went. The other two were taking quite a while. Oh, freak. I used the opportunity to let my eyes wander around the room. The walls were dressed with paintings of all kinds, pictures of nature as well as more abstract drawings. A fancy-looking framed piece of paper and a photograph that was standing on the drawer beneath them caught my eye. The former seemed to be an art degree and the latter a picture of the man and woman when they were younger. They were standing somewhere that could be a university campus. Both had a genuine smile on their face. It seems like their friendship went back quite a bit. The music stops. Ah, see, I told you. Hey, what? What is it? It isn't really surprising though. Shouldn't have give that music cue. Like silence and then this. Did she sneak behind me? I thought I had a clear view of the kitchen entrance. I think I heard some rumbling coming from downstairs. It'd probably be good if you check it out in case she hurt herself. Why only me? Why not you? She was likely referring to the woman who had invited me in. You did? She has been gone out for quite a while now. Maybe something did happen to her. Perhaps I should take a look. I felt her eyes follow me to the basement. Ah. I squinted down the stair. It was almost pitch black. I swallowed back my nerves and carefully crept down the steps. Maybe I should have called out to the woman, but something told me not to. Better be silent, aren't we? I managed to reach the bottom stair and peek around the corner. Good idea, or you could just call from the upstairs and then, if something appears, just immediately close it. There I saw the woman kneeling by lamplight in front of a large cage. A basket of the strange plants sat beside her. There, it's all right. Cage. Take a good sniff of the cup. We need to hurry, okay? I know that he's growing one too. Everyone is. Growing plant, eh? Everyone wants to get rid of the competition. We need to hurry. So a lot of people in this village are growing those plants and feed them to their pets. Interesting. She held the man cup to the bar, something in her voice disturbed me. Whatever was going on, I wanted no part of it. I returned to the living room as quietly as I could. There you are, all ready to go? No, you're growing that thing too. Upon hearing the man's loud voice, I jumped a bit. What I had seen in the basement made me a bit anxious. I took a quick look around and saw that the girl was already gone. Oh, interesting. Sure, I'm ready. Leaving already? I just made some more tea. Perhaps this too cannot see the girl. Just saying. I turned to see the woman standing in the living room entrance with a put on smile. Ah, sorry, dear, I'm not just young enough to stay out late like we used to. She put on a playful pout. Oh, you do, won't me? Come by again, you know you're welcome any time. We bid our farewells and set out into the cold night. Okay. I was glad to leave. You sure it's a good decision? What I had seen was still nagging on my mind. The man might be in danger, I had to tell him. No. The man itself could be a danger too. I hesitated. How was I supposed to tell him when I myself wasn't sure what I had seen? But I collected myself and went for it. To my surprise, he wasn't nearly as upset as the woman as I thought he would be. Oh no. He actually seemed to be more upset at me. I think you should not have snooped around in someone's house who invited you over. I was left perplexed. What just happened? A conspiracy on the village, of course. I thought I was warning him, but instead I've been scolded like a child. His face relaxed and he gave me his usual smile. It seemed slightly pained this time. I suppose there's been no harm done. Perhaps he just didn't believe me. I couldn't blame him. You just deny yourself. I noticed more and more vacant houses as we crept through the town. Some were boarded up. Oh no, doors had been left wide open. Why are there so many empty houses here? These houses have been vacant for a while now. You need not worry. I was sure that I passed by her earlier, but I didn't notice any abandoned buildings back then. They couldn't have left so suddenly in just half a day, could they? They could. An uneasy feeling started to fester inside of me. Here we are. Perhaps you're not knocked out for half a day. You know, perhaps, just saying. We stopped before a house that looked much like every other house in the town. He stepped inside. I hesitated at the entrance before trailing behind him. Come in, no need to be shy. Oh, sure. Oh, the clock is ticking. Do you want something to drink? No, thanks. The man hesitantly grunted and led me down the hallway. Ah, offering me something to drink, you see, like the last time too. I only wanted to use the phone and get out. All the weirdness of the day had me on edge. But what if... Wait, to the basement too? Oh no. But what if I still couldn't reach anyone? Where would I go? I was balancing a fine line between hope and despair, and the phone call would probably be what would topple me in either direction. Alright, here you are. The phone was one of those old-fashioned ones that I had that had a cord attached to the receiver. At least it had buttons instead of a rotary dial, yeah. Ah, I picked up the receiver and tried a number. Am I doing something wrong? There's no dial tone. Let me see. He took the receiver from my hand and pressed a few buttons. He let out a disappointed sigh. Not again. Those darn rodents keep getting to my cables. Rodent. I'll go take a look at it. Feel free to make yourself at home. In case you get thirsty, he fetched a small bottle of soda from the kitchen, gave it to me, and went into the basement. Strange. It seems like I wouldn't be able to live quite so soon. Once I held a drink in my hand, I did start to get thirsty. I took a sip and thought about what to do next. What if we snoop around? But I think he already knew that we snooped around back then, so I'm not sure if that's a good idea. You know what? I'll save here. Huh. Check the pictures. I look at the pictures hanging in the wall. Oh, a dog. There weren't too many, but he seemed to be pretty cheerful in all of them, especially the ones with his dog. For some reason, I hadn't seen it around. Nothing else caught my eye. How about the living room? It was only one room over, surely he wouldn't mind. He said I should feel at home after all. The living room was minimalistic and unimpressive. A TV stood in the corner gathering dust. His bookshelf was well maintained on the other hand. I looked over the books. He seemed pretty interested in biology. Oh no. Maybe he was a teacher or even a researcher just like myself. I'd love to chat with him about his field sometime once I get out of this mess. I choose a random book and open it. I quickly shut it to recheck the title. It seems like I had pulled out a fantasy book instead of a biology text. Oh no, one of those magic eldritch stuff, isn't it? Evolutionary Development, a Practical Study Guide. That would be a rather weird name for a fantasy novel, but the depiction on the page confirmed it being fiction. Oh, is it? The page showed drawings of creatures I've never seen before, accompanied by detailed graph and diagram. I guess this could be one of those fake science art pieces like what the Voynich manuscript is theorized to be. Yeah, something like that. I returned the book and went back out into the hall. You're just denying what is happening now. Oh, we have only two chances to check around. I jumped. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. No, it's fine. Good thing he didn't catch me snooping around. The phone should be working now. Feel free to give it a try. I'll give you some space. Call me when you're done. He took the bottle I had drank from earlier and left through the hallway. I had an odd sense of deja vu. Why? I shook it off and started dialing some numbers. They were the same that I already tried on the girl's mobile phone. Once again, they failed to connect. Interesting. How could that be? I was 100% certain that the numbers were correct. I tried all the numbers of friends, family, and even work college I could think of until finally. Oh, thank God. Yes, hello? It was a woman's voice that I didn't recognize. Oh, interesting. I was certain that I had dialed the number of one of my work college. Excuse me, isn't this Tom's telephone number? I don't know who that is. Are you another scam caller? Don't call me again. She hung up. Alright, something was definitely wrong here. It might be best to talk to the man and see if he could help me somehow. Maybe he had a clue as how to I could get back home. I crept down the hall. He went this way, right? I began to hear some murmuring, a steady chill round on my back. Oh, I don't like that. The sound was coming from the basement. The old floorboards squealed beneath my toes. I saw flickers of a weak light coming from down the steps. Oh no, let's go away. I took them as gently as I could as I held a hand over my mouth to quiet my breath. I reached the bottom and turned a corner. It was just like before. The man knelt before a big cage, a small lamp next to him, and held something up to the bars. He hissed to whatever was inside. Yes, you have the scent now, don't you? The Oh no, the drink! It was for getting the scent. So when the woman used that cup from this man, it was for making the thing having the scent. But I don't know for what yet. We must take care of this one tonight. He's curious. He will find the secrets much faster than the others. But that woman is trying to take care of you, it seems. But yeah, we are in danger. No, we can have him making something like you too. It's kill or be killed in this town. My stomach dropped out from underneath me as I heard the horrible scraping from inside the cage. Yeah, that's horrible. I took a step back, bumping into a wall. Oh no. Before I could react, I had accidentally switched on the main light. How could you do such kind of mistake? The sudden flood of white blinded me for a moment, and everything around here probably. Once my eyes adjusted, the first thing I saw was it. Oh no. Oh, hello there. What? That's your dog, isn't it? Okay, is the dog tongue the flower or is it eating the flower? Oh. The man was screaming at me, but I could barely think about him. I couldn't look away from that creature. Oh god, that's horrible. It was cowering inside a dirty cage that seemed to be too small for it. It had features of a human, yes, but I could also see some elements that were distinctly dog-like. Indeed, its mouth was way too big, and the inside of it was filled with seemingly random set of teeth, or at least something that resembled teeth. Worst of all, though, were the enormous eyes staring right back at me. The man fumbled with the lock on the cage. My feet finally began to move. Run! I ran out of the house and into the streets. All the while one thought was frantically running through my head. I had to get out. I had to get away from this demented town. Yeah, I think I kinda know how you survive this. Just pretend to be dead. With this clouding With this thought clouding my mind, I hadn't realized that I had exceeded town already and was now on a big grassy plain. Breathing heavily and with my fear flooding my mind, I had almost not noticed how heavy my legs had become. Soon I was struggling to stay on my feet and my vision slowly darkened from exhaustion and panic. I wanted to look back to see how close the monster was, but I was too afraid of seeing it right behind me. I gathered my courage and quickly glanced behind me, and to my surprise, the thing wasn't following me. And the music just turned off. I love that. I don't know if it had ever followed me in the first place, but it seemed like the man wanted to send it after me, to kill me, with heavier scent now. Realizing that I was safe for now, I stopped. My legs were numb and I almost gave in, but I managed to keep standing. I couldn't believe what I had just seen. It couldn't be real. There's no way to explain what I had seen, and every inch of my body repulsed the idea of such a monster existing. But I had seen it with my own two eyes. I continued on at a slower pace this time and soon came to a small but quickly flowing river. It wasn't a good night to get my clothes wet, but it looked small enough for me to jump over with a running start. I wasn't the athletic type, but I managed to leap over the gap. Why are we talking about river? After walking for what felt like hours, I caught a glimpse of a different town. It looked quite a bit bigger than the one I had just left. The concrete buildings looked like needles from the distance. I wasn't fully sure what I felt at the moment. Part of me was relief about seeing some civilization and being able to look for help. Another part of me was still in shock over what I had just experienced, but I was too tired to try to make a sense of it. And so I pushed myself onward, using the remaining strength I had left. Soon it's going to be over, was what I naively kept mumbling to myself as I dragged myself closer toward the next nightmare. Oh no. I love that. Yes! Hi Game Director here, thank you for trying out Mycorrhiza's demo. So, is that a demo for the game or a demo for Chapter 1? That's what I kinda want to know. The game has been in development for way longer than one would think, and I'm happy to finally be able to share it with you. Whether you're a horror manga nerd or have never read one, I hope you enjoyed it. I sure do. I hope you pick up on the dynamic audio. Yes, I pick it up as well. It's excellent. As someone who's mainly been a composer and sound designer for visual novels, I made sure to use my expertise in that area to make this game audio a bit more special. You might even notice a change in the title screen theme now that you have finished the first act. What? If you'd like to help us make Mycorrhiza the best it can be, then please consider sharing your opinion on it with us. Click on the text to open up a survey page. Sure, I'll do. And if you like, I'll check it on the... Oh, it's a hyperlink. I'll check it on the description, game description page. Uh huh. Oh yeah, yeah. Uh huh. Okay, I can click on the names, hyperlinks. Yes. Where is it? Ah, there it is. Oh, nice. Any more? Oh, there is. Oh, it's a lot, isn't it? Oh wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. This is a long project, isn't it? Is that all? Ah, now the door opens. Oh, I dislike that. In a good way for horror games. So I guess that's all for Mycorrhiza. So I suggest perhaps, I don't know, it's kind of lacking in the low end computer. I don't know why, because I don't see that many animation, which is interesting to note. So see you later then in my next video. This has been a very enjoyable horror game, yeah. It's like one of those, Korean manhwa you Korean manhwa video you watch at night. Just search for it. There's a lot of this kind of horror. So see you later then in my next video. Bye bye.